All right, everybody. Hello, Mr. Mack here. We are back with Restart, and everything's been fine up to a second ago when something went in my eye. We are in chapter 12, and we are back to Chase Ambrose. And I love the fact that this has to do with different points of view, different perspectives, just like the book Wonder. We talked about that before. Each chapter is from a different character's point of view. In this book, it was Chase, and then it was Shoshana, and then it was Brendan, and then it was Kimberly. And, it's wonderful because when you see through another character's eyes, like in Wonder, we see through Augie's eyes, we see through Jack's eyes, we see through Via's eyes, we see through Miranda's eyes, we see through Julian's eyes. It's from a different perspective. People see the world differently. 10 people can see something happen, and 10 people can experience, even though they've seen this, even though together they saw the same thing, they've seen it together, they can experience 10 different things, 10 different emotions, 10 different, stories are that way too. We are seeing the point of view of, in this chapter, Chase. In the chapter before, it was Aaron, his football friend, buddy, best friend from his life before. Let's say that. All right, Chase Ambrose. A few more memories have come back. Mostly it's just images and impressions, but there's one that's pretty concrete. My mother has been showing me a lot of old pictures in the hope that something might ring a bell. One snapshot of an ivy-covered building looks familiar to me. The student union at Johnny's University, Mom explains. It triggers a flashback. Flashback is when you have a sudden memory. In this, Chase had sudden memories with when he woke up and the girl in the blue dress and the white lace and the blonde hair, didn't know who it was, described her, no one else knew who it was, a flashback of something. Another flashback was at the football game. Helene was playing, he taped her, they watched the tape, she was squealing, suddenly a flashback came. It wasn't a pleasant flashback. He was ripping the head off of her teddy bear. And now, this flashback, another flashback. He sees that building, he sees that where it is, he sees what it's about. Mom and 7th grade me, Chase, are dropping off Johnny at college. Our car pulls up alongside or in the circular drive in front of the building in this photograph. Johnny gets out. It's his first day of freshman year, his first time living away from home. He seems terrified. And what do I feel? Sympathy for my poor scared brother, or for Mom, who's on the verge of tears, for myself even. I'll be losing my brother to a new life in a faraway place. I don't feel any of those things. I suddenly remember thinking, what a wuss this kid is. I can't believe I ever looked up to him. What a wimp, what a baby. Well, that flashback right there wasn't pleasant either. Instead of feeling for his brother, knowing he's going to miss his brother, he's thinking his brother's a wimp. My scorn is so sharp that it jolts me back to the here and now. How could I have made such harsh judgments about my own brother? When I was in the hospital, Johnny was there at my bedside every minute that Mom was, just as worried about me, just as torn up about my accident. I guess that wasn't payback for the wonderful brother loyalty I've shown him over the years. People say I've changed. I'm barely beginning to understand how much. I think Chase is starting to realize, Chase is an intelligent young man. I think he's starting to realize these things he's starting to feel, these things he's starting to remember. They're not very pleasant. He's remembering himself in situations that he wasn't very kind. He was violent, ripping the head off a teddy bear, feeling disgust by his brother being such a wimp. Time jump. Dr. Cooperman isn't surprised that my memory is returning. My brain is totally fine, he says, at my next appointment. After all, I remember everything that's happened since coming out of the coma. Not that it would be easy to forget things like Shoshana dumping yogurt on my head or Brendan going through the car wash on a tricycle or how it felt to push Joey against the wall. Whew, a blur of violence, anger, and lightning fast action. And there was something else too. I may not be proud of it, but it's the truth. Satisfaction. It felt good when I pushed Joey against that locker. I didn't like the way the situation was going, so I changed it with my own physical power. Aaron's words come back to me. You didn't have to attack him. And Shoshana's word, goon. She called me a goon. It stays with me. That haunts me a little bit. I don't regret stopping Joey from bullying Brendan. I don't regret it. But was fighting really the only way to make that happen? Worse, I didn't even consider trying to talk Joey down. I just grabbed the kid and manhandled him the same way he was manhandling Brandon. That's something we learn. You learn to speak. You learn it at home. You learn how to say things. You learn how to ask for things. You learn how to say no to things. You learn how to say yes to things. And words are the most important things ever. And some people, for whatever reason, for different reasons, start putting their hands on people, using that power, using threats and threatening kinds of actions to get what they want. It's terrible. It's going down a very, very dark road. So that's what he's asking himself. Did I really need to do that? Did I have to do that? I just grabbed the kid and manhandled him. I get that the old Chase could be like that before the accident. But now I'm starting to wonder if that person, that mean Chase, is inside me, emerging from the darkness bit by bit along with my memory. As weird as it was to lose my past, this might be even weirder. The more that comes back, the less I recognize myself. So he is. We know, we can testify by this book. From the moment he awoke, he's been a pretty great guy, kind and thoughtful and protective, making friends with good people. But he's also seeing a lot. He's realizing a lot. These flashbacks are coming, showing him that he wasn't a good person. And the people who are around him are basically letting him know, you really were a jerk. You were a bully. You were mean. Even his friends who were mean and bullyish just like him, laughing about it. That's affecting him too in a negative way. How could I be that way? Dr. Cooperman also pronounces me fully recovered physically. And then he drops the bomb. He still wants me off the football for the rest of the season. I must seem pretty devastated because he adds, but it's all out of an abundance of caution. You're fine, but concussions can't be taken lightly. And that's true. Concussions are when your brain jostles inside your brain cap, inside your skull. It damages your brain. The more concussed you get, the more that can affect your brain. It can affect you. It can shorten your life. It can do a lot of things to you. So concussions are a big deal. We're learning new things about long-term effects every day from concussions. I know you're disappointed, honey, my mom adds. I understand how important football is to you. Now, prior to his accident, we know football was his whole life. Just like football was his dad's whole life. And even though his dad's been out of high school for almost 30 years, it's still his whole life. How can I explain to them? Sure, I'd love to play, but what really bugs me is that football is my biggest connection to my old life. I don't think I've had a single conversation with Dad that wasn't about either my past gridiron glories or the ones he still expects me to have. And since the incident with Joey, the only Hurricanes who will talk to me are Aaron and Bear. Even with them, half the time I get the impression that their main interest is getting their team captain back. For sure, those guys are never going to forgive me, A, for doing my community service when I don't have to, and B, for not hating it enough. To be honest, I don't hate it at all. One thing no one ever tells you when you're laid up, like in the hospital, is how boring it is. You really appreciate anyone who comes to break the monotony. So now I get to be that person for the residents of Portland Street. It makes me feel good about myself, and that's huge at a time when I'm learning I have so much to feel bad about. God bless this kid. He's realizing, that I think that's a powerful line. It makes me feel good about myself, and that's huge at a time when I'm learning I have so much to feel bad about. Feels bad about the teddy bear and the head decapitation. He feels bad about, just all of the way people, just even if memories weren't coming back, just the way people are treating him and what he's learned from the members of the video club and, what happened with Joel. I mean, goodness gracious, he's... Besides, I get stuff out of it too when I'm there and I'm helping. I've learned how to play mahjong, and I picked up a lot of great tips on how to grow stuff, mostly from Mrs. Kitteridge. Most rooms, looks her room is a botanical garden. I think I'm going to be able to save a lot of Mom's plants, and maybe even the ficus in Helene's room, the one she bought at her preschool's flower sale, and is at least 98% dead. That'll make points with Corinne, who is losing her enthusiasm for the falling leaves and those tiny white bugs that are all over them. And as for Mr. Solway, despite the fact that I've forgotten most of what's happened to me, I feel pretty confident saying he's the coolest person I've ever met. Anyone who could jump into a moving enemy tank, throw open the hatch, take out a grenade, pull the pin, throw it in, has to be a pretty amazing guy. Mr. Solway doesn't see it that way, though. Oh, that's what I did, not who I am. If I'd bothered to think about it, I wouldn't have done it. I'm not that stupid. The sad part is that Mr. Solway can't find his Medal of Honor. I wonder where the Medal of Honor could be. I think we know. I have a strong feeling. This whole thing with Bear and Aaron, missing something, question him about it, find out about it, he's got to still have it. Aaron saying, no, 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 stop, stop, stop. I think Mr. Solway's Medal of Honor isn't missing. Well, it is, but not because of an accident. I think it's missing because someone took it. That's what I think. Nurse Duncan thinks that the Medal of Honor probably just got misplaced during Portland Street's big painting project, and it'll turn up sooner or later, but he's convinced he just flat out lost it. I haven't been as sharp since my wife died, he tells me. We never had any kids, so we were the whole world to each other. She looked after everything, and I just looked after her. And he sighs. Well, you can see which one of us did a better job. When she was gone, that's when my life pretty much ended. That's, and a sweep of his arm across the room. This is marking time. I hate it when he talks like that. Come on, Mr. Solway. You got a good life here. Plenty of friends. Huh. And he glares at me. Have you ever asked about me around here? Huh? The old ladies on crutches do the 100-yard dash when they see me coming. I've got my own personal table for one in the dining room. Just me. The nurses call me Mr. Happy Face. They think I don't know because they assume I'm just as deaf as everyone else in this funny farm. I'm getting the sense that before my accident, I was kind of Mr. Happy Face at my school, I confide to him. Well, I could have told you that, he replies. You know, Chase, when you first showed up here, you were just like those other two good-for-nothings. Except maybe you were worse of the three. Sometimes a whack on the head is exactly what a fellow needs. That's a pretty harsh thing to say to someone with amnesia. But that's the way Mr. Salway is. He isn't being mean, he's just being honest. He's lived a long time and been through a lot, and he doesn't feel like he has to pull any punches. I respect him more than anything for that. That whack on the head cost me 13 and a half years of my life, I remind him. Remembering's overrated, he says. You know that heroic act that earned me that fancy schmancy medal? I don't remember 1 second of it. The only reason I know what happened is from the report my captain filed with headquarters. Well, that's all right. I guess when you get older, it's hard to hang on to every detail, I say to him. And he shakes his head. It isn't old age, son. It's looking into a T-34 tank after a grenade's gone off inside it. It's not a pretty sight. That was the medic's explanation, anyway. That's the stuff you block out. That's the stuff you block out when you can't face it. But they were the enemy, I say gently. There was a war on, Mr. Salway. There's always the enemy. They're always the enemy when they're shooting at you. But a dead man doesn't care what uniform he's wearing, kid. I'm better off forgetting the whole rotten business, medal and all. That's another thing I have in common with Mr. Salway. We're memory loss buddies. I wonder if I blocked out what a jerk I used to be because I can't face it. I don't think it's the same thing, though. Besides, my lost past has started to come back. I wouldn't exactly call it a tsunami of recollections. More like the water torture where the blindfolded prisoner feels a drip on his forehead, just often enough to drive him crazy when he's anticipating the next drip. I can't even be sure they're real memories. Blowing out candles at what could have been one of my birthday parties, a view of the Hollywood sign that might have come from our family trip to California, being crushed under a pile of football players, a flashback to one of my sports triumphs. So he's having these flashbacks. No context, just a flash of this, blowing out candles, football game. Who can tell? He doesn't know if it's real or not. The mind plays tricks, and it's playing tricks on me. Last night, I had a dream about cherry bombs going off inside a piano, scaring some poor kid half to death, and woke up in a cold sweat. But when I checked the school yearbook for a picture of Joel Weber, he wasn't the guy in my dream. So he had a dream about that. Remember, Chase knows that happened, and he knows he was part of it. But in the dream, whoever the kid was at the piano, it wasn't Joel. And dreams are like that. Dreams just throw in whatever is there. Whatever happens during the day or that week, that's what dreams are. They throw it into a mix, and that's what dreams are. Anyway, he's saying that was no memory. That was just a product of a guilty conscience. My theory is my brain invents fake memories of things I heard about because I'm trying so hard to remember stuff. I even had a nightmare about the Korean War, and for sure I wasn't there. Well, no, that was in the early 50s, you know. I actually saw myself in uniform climbing up the side of a tank like Mr. Salway did. I yank open the hatch door, pull the pin on the grenade, but when the soldiers are inside, they look up at me, and I just can't bring myself to drop it in on them. I just hang there, not knowing what to do until the grenade goes off in my hand. Believe it or not, the impression from before my accident that seems the most vivid is that little girl. Sometimes so much so that I feel like I could be able to reach out and touch the white lace on her blue dress or the red ribbon in her hair. I have to question whether she's any more real than the dreams are. She never moves. She just stands there, not looking at me, but off somewhere to the side. She must be important, though. She's the one image that was still with me when I woke up in the hospital. I wonder who she is. Now, unless I missed something, there aren't enough clues yet for me to start having some kind of an idea who this young girl might be. Don't know. Don't know yet. So hopefully we'll when we come across a clue that helps us link that girl to something, we'll look at each other like this. Time jump. School triggers a few memories too, but they're mostly random images and feelings of deja vu. Deja vu, that feeling that this has happened before. There's nothing solid enough to be useful. I still don't really know the faculty, the kids, or the custodians. I'm just now learning my way around the building that I've been attending since 6th grade. I obviously don't remember what a lousy student I was because my teachers are all so impressed with how well I'm doing now. Some of them seem like they're ready to faint when I actually hand in a homework assignment. You know, that happens too sometimes. Young people get involved in things. They become so deeply involved that they feel like it's the only thing that's important, like baseball, football, sport, arts, or something. And that school suddenly becomes not important. Well, it is. And it's possible for intelligent people to do school and sports, school and art, school and theater, school and whatever. It's very, very possible. Happens all the time. Video Club is the one place that's brand new to me because it actually is brand new. We've collected a ton of footage for the yearbook. I'm lagging behind the other members since most of the kids run a mile when they see me coming. They always shout, and I always shout to them, "It's okay, Brendan sent me. It's okay." So they'll know I'm not looking for trouble. Mr. Leo wants me to work on my interviewing skills because my subjects seem so ill at ease, and they do. Anybody he has to interview, when they see Chase coming, they run the other way, or they get so afraid because they're afraid he's going to hit them, bully them, hurt them, give them a wedgie, whatever. Yeah, no kidding. They're all waiting for me to pull their underwear up over their heads and stuff them into a locker. At least the video kids are starting to get used to having me around. Well, everyone except Shoshana, who hates me for good and for always. Can't blame her. Even though I have no memory of what Aaron Bear and I did to her brother. It's pretty strange to be despised for something that, in your mind, never happened, and to someone it seems like you've never met. She stopped fighting with me directly, though. Mostly she just makes pointed comments about how the club should have closed up membership while they had the chance. That's unfair because I'm not even the last to join. Kimmy got there before me. And if I'm a newbie, Kimmy got there after me, not before me. We remember Kimmy. Remember, she had a crush. She had a crush on Chase. And at the end of her chapter, what did she say? How do I get into the video club? Well, evidently she did. So Kimmy's the last member. Kimmy got there after me, and if I'm a newbie, I don't know what you'd call her. She doesn't know a camera from a kumquat. For her interview with the head cheerleader, she left the lens cap on. So there was audio, but no video. On her second try, she zoomed in so close that all you could see was the mouth talking. Sorry, I hope that didn't scare you. I think Brendan kind of has a crush on Kimmy because he won't hear anything bad about her. Shooting a mouth but no face is expressionism, he says, and lens caps are way too analog for the digital age. Whatever. Brendan's true love, though, is YouTube. This afternoon he shows us his latest clip of a tiny goldfish bravely swimming against the pull of a bathtub drain while electric guitars roar in the background. Just as the struggling creature is about to be sucked away to his doom, a toilet plunger slams down over the drain, saving his life. Brendan pauses the video to scattered applause. I call it Plunger Ex Machina, he announces grandly. Shoshana doesn't approve. You know, you're wasting your time with this stuff. You should be helping me with my entry for the National Video Journalism Contest. It would be a huge boost for the club if we win. And he brushes her off. The kind of internet traffic I'm trying to generate isn't going to come from some senior citizen reminiscing about the good old days. And remember, Shoshana's doing this contest where, and I'm going to stop right there because I have a feeling what's coming. I mentioned it once before, but I feel really strong about it now. She's got to interview an elderly person about their more than interesting life. I wonder who we've met so far who had an extraordinary life. I wonder. Let's look at each other like that. That depends on who we pick, Shoshana says. Depends on what awesome elderly person we pick. Seniors have lived through amazing times and accomplished incredible things, she says. We just have to find the perfect subject. And before I realize who I'm talking to, I blurt out, you should talk to Mr. Salway over at Portland Street, I say to Shoshana. Her angry eyes skewer me. I've contaminated her precious project with the sound of my voice. Another of my crimes against humanity, like bullying her brother and not dying when I fell off the roof. Who's Mr. Salway? Kimmy asks. A hero from the Korean War. He was awarded the Medal of Honor. That's the highest award any soldier can get. And how would you know someone like that? Shoshana says. It's obvious she doesn't believe a word out of my mouth. Well, I work there. Aaron Bear and me, it's our community service for, and his voice trails off. She, of all people, knows exactly what we're doing for community service there. He sounds perfect to me, Brendan says. Maybe I can get him to ride a tricycle through the car wash, Shoshana retorts icily. Just at least talk to the guy, Hugo asks. Mr. Leo wades in to play peacemaker. I know you'll find a way to make the school proud, she says to Shoshana. And thank you, Chase, for a marvelous suggestion. Shoshana's cheeks darken through pink and red to full-on crimson. I hope I never hate anybody as much as this girl hates me. That's the end of chapter 12. Well, it's a revealing chapter. I feel strongly about that Medal of Honor for Mr. Salway. I had a feeling something was taken. And in Aaron's chapter, with Bear being so adamant and strong about questioning Chase, evidently Chase has it. Chase just doesn't know he has it. Isn't that going to be awful? Chase and Mr. Salway are they sparked a friendship, and this could be something. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Come back. Chapter 13 is we're back to Shoshana. Boy, am I interested about that. Interested. Want to know what Shoshana's thinking. I mean, she's a smart girl. She's going to realize that this Mr. Salway could be absolutely perfect for this video contest. Take care. Stay safe. Stay well. Keep your hands away from your eyes, nose, and mouth. And have a good rest of your day or night, at whatever time you're watching the video. Take care. Bye-bye.